Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and today I'm going to do a mixed media project. I'm starting with a couple of pages out of some old dictionaries. You know, we tear up these books in order to get maybe the cover, or maybe we like some of the pages in there, but you always have extras left over. So what I thought I'd do today was show you kind of a mixed media page that you could create. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these pages and basically I've already trimmed off the excess white area, and I'm just going to use my ruler here to rip this so that I have some strips, and I'll have some pieces that I can paste to this other piece of paper. I'm going to take these other pieces and do the same thing. Okay, now that I have all these pieces ready to go, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little glue pot. I've kind of showed this before. Basically, it is Aleene's tacky glue, a little bit of water. There's a sponge in here to kind of keep it moist. And what I'm going to do is collage these pieces of paper onto just some copy paper. This would be great to use on, you know, some junk mail that you have, or pieces of paper that have printing on it, but you don't really want what's on there to be seen. So take some glue. I'm using a paintbrush, and what I'm going to do is just coat a little area with some glue, then grab one of these pieces, trying to make sure that the glue goes beyond where my paper is going to attach, because you don't want to have any blank spaces. And I'm just going to randomly glue pieces onto this page. And I'll rotate the pages and not put them in the same direction, just so you get a little bit of variety. Okay, now I've attached all the papers to my base. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim all of this out and make sure that it's dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have dried this page, and now I have some clear gesso because I plan to use some gelatos, and they work better if there's some gesso underneath. So I'm going to put just a little bit into a bowl here so I can paint it onto the page. And I'm just going to coat the entire thing, and then I will let this dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, so the page is coated. I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll be right back. I used my heat tool to dry the page, and I think it's ready for the next step. And I think what we're going to do is use some gelatos. So I'm going to get out my gelatos here. I've got a couple of kinds. I think I have the metallic and I have the iridescent sets here. So gelatos are a creamy substance that you put it down, and it's designed to be blended. You can either blend it with, they send like a sponge and another little blending tool in here with it. You can blend it with water as well. So that's what we're going to do today. So first what I'm going to do is lay down some color onto this page. And I've done it a couple different ways. I shared on one of my live streams, putting down the color, all the colors, and then coming back and adding water. And I think this time I'm going to do it a little bit differently and just see what kind of results that I get. I'm just trying to grab a couple of colors so I can have them ready. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to grab some of this pink. And basically, I'm just going to kind of fill in an area, and I'll rotate it and fill in another area. And let's just kind of fill in right down here. Maybe a little here. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my paintbrush, and I've got a couple of glasses of water. And this is a tip that I want to share with y'all. If you'll take two glasses and one inside the other, and then on the outside, that will be your dirty water, and this side will be your clean water. So if you need to clean your brush out, you go on the outside and then dip in the middle to get your clean water. And what I'm going to do is brush this gelato. I'm just kind of moving it onto the page just a little bit. However far it ends up going, I'm going to add a little bit more water. And I'm okay with it blending out. I just want a little bit of color. All right, so I've just laid down a little bit of pink. I'm going to clean out my brush so it's ready. And I'm going to dry it just a little bit so that it's not wet when I put the next color of gelato down. Okay, for the most part, that is dry. So I'm just going to grab another color. This is one of the metallics. And I'm just going to go in here and add a little bit here and there. And I'm going to pick up my paintbrush again and wet it and move that purple color. I'm going to dry the purple and then do the same thing with the next color. I'm just kind of going around and blending all those together. I'm going to dry it again. I think there's another color I want to add. I've got a green here I think would look good. So I'm just going to add a little bit of green. I think that has all the color that I want to put on it. It's looking pretty good. It's got a lot of different shades of variations from this pink, how it kind of fades a little bit lighter, this purple, the teal. Now, I may go ahead to put just a little bit more color. I like this teal color. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. All right, I'm going to dry this and then I'll be right back. Okay, so it is dry now. And the next thing I want to do is I want to stamp all over this so I can use it as a base for some tags and tuck spots and journal cards, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to grab a few stamps. I've got the postcard collage here, and I've got some Ranger archival ink in black. I'm going to ink this up. Get my lid out of the way. And I'm just going to stamp it over the top. It's just going to add another layer of dimension to it. So I'm just going to go around, and I'm okay if it didn't get a good impression. I'm just wanting to add just a little bit more texture. And it may be hard to see, but there's a little bit of texture that it's added to that. So I'm going to set this one aside. And then I've got the postcard collage rubber stamp. And we're going to go in here and just kind of add it randomly in as well. So we're just adding a little bit of texture here and there. And then I've got the gears rubber stamp. So we're going to stamp that in here. And then I have one of the textured borders stamp. And I think what I want to do is I'm going to stamp randomly onto this, just adding a little bit more texture. So kind of just adds a little bit more texture in there. I'm going to clean up my workspace and then I'll be right back. Okay, so the page is dry and I really love the way that it turned out. So I decided to do a little something different at the moment. Because I'm using a mixed media product that doesn't mind if I photocopy it, and I'm using Beeline Designs rubber stamps, which allows you to photocopy your work, I went in and scanned the original and then printed it on some cardstock so that the back is somewhat clean. I've already got it dirty, and I think it looks really good. It doesn't have near the metallic or pearlescent, iridescent sheen on it, but I think I can fix that by spraying it with some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, and then I'm going to use this as my base for my cards. Now, if you don't have the ability to scan it in, I would back this with some cardstock so that it was a little bit stiffer, and then it would also be a little bit cleaner than this. So, but I'm going to go ahead and get some Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, and we're going to spritz this. I don't want spray everywhere, so I'm going to put this in my spray box. It's just a cardboard box that happens to fit an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I've got Dazzling Diamonds Tattered Angels Glimmer Mist, and I sell this in my shop now because I had so many requests for it, and I'm just going to spritz over the whole page. And it's going to add just a little bit of iridescence to it. You may not be able to see it on camera, but I can see it in person, and it's already giving it a shimmery look. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to take this piece and I'm going to cut it up because I want it to be various cards and elements that I can use in my junk journal. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it at 5 inches. I'm going to take that piece and cut it at 7 inches. So now I have this 5 by 7 piece. And I have this 1.5 inch, I think that's right, 1.5 inch by 5 inch piece. So I still have this piece left. So the next thing I'm going to do is cut 2.5 inches. Then I'm going to cut this in half, which would be about 4.25. So now I've got those two pieces. And then I've got this piece, which is 3.5 inches. So I'm going to cut it at 2.5 twice. And then I will have a square left over that's 3.5 inches square, or about, yeah, 3.5. So now I have these pieces. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to round the corners of this one. And I'm just using my crocodile, whatever you use for your corner rounding. You can use your scissors even. And these two pieces I'm going to turn into tags. So I'm going to get my Paper Studio tag punch. And we're going to put these in here. I tried to cut both of these at the same time. I got lucky. They went through. I should have just cut one at a time. Alright, so I have all these pieces. Let's add some distress ink to it while I ponder how I'm going to decorate them. I'm just using walnut stain and the Tim Holtz blending tool to go around the edges. Okay, now I've got all these pieces that we want to decorate. So I'm just kind of laying them out here so I can decide what I want to do with each piece. Earlier, I stamped a bunch of Beeline Designs rubber stamps, and then I colored them using Tattered Angels. I would take the Tattered Angels and spray it into the container, and then I would grab a paintbrush and dip into the paint and then paint each one of those. So you can kind of see they all have a beautiful image of color to them. They are beautiful and have color to them. I don't know what my words were, all tongue-tied there. And again, because Beeline Designs allows you to photocopy your work, I scanned these in and then I printed them, and I've already fussy cut them out. I went ahead and added some distress inks to the edge, but you can see where this is the same. It's the same colors, where these are the same. I love the way this little butterfly came out. So I've got these little elements now that I can use to decorate with. And I think I want to get a 5 by 7 card. Yes, that will work. So that'll be a 5 by 7 card that I'll use as well. So what I'm going to do now is I still have a few pieces of paper laying here from earlier. And let's do some little collages on these cards, okay? I've got some scraps over here as well. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to look at this and see how I can just a little decoration on there so it pops out just a little bit. You'll see it when it's sticking out of a tuck spot. So I'm going to sit here and play and get some pieces laid out here, and then I'll be right back. I've got these words that are part of a stamp set that I have, that I stamp all the words at once and then I can use them however I want. And I think what I'm going to do is trim these out and use a few of these on my cards and elements that I'm making. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm just going around and trying to find little bits and pieces that I can use. This piece of paper here is a book page that had been coated in paint, and I thought it might look kind of cute as a frame behind the word elegant. So I'm just going to layer all these items up a little at a time. I'll come in and kind of chat with you about it, and I'll definitely go through each one as I glue everything down. Okay, I think I've got all the little things that I want to put together here. So we'll start with the 5x7 card. What I've got here is a leftover from, I trim off, I believe this was when I made the miniature journal on the Steampunk Live on May the 27th, and it just happened to be still in my stash here. So I'm just going to put that right there. I'm going to put this book page that was left over on top, kind of making a square in that corner, and then I'm going to put the flower right in the middle. And then I'll put the word passion kind of across the corner here. I may put it on this corner. Let me see. Yeah, I'll put it here. And while I'm at it, and this is going to be sitting here drying for a few minutes, I'm going to take some Tulip Dimensional Glitter Paint. I'm going to go in here and just add a little bit of glitter to the flower. It's not much, but I think it'll be dramatic. And if I had been smart, I would have done it before I had put the word on, but that's okay. All right, we'll set that aside to dry. All right, so on these little tags, I decided to go with some butterflies and a couple of pieces of book page. So I'll glue those down. Let me zoom in, maybe you can see a little better. So that says desirable. There's a little bit of glue that seeped out. Sometimes I use way too much glue on these little embellishments, but it's easy to wipe away. All right, so I'll set this there. Let me do this one next. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of glitter paint on these butterflies as well. I'm just kind of filling it in just a little bit. I'll come back to do the ties on those in just a few minutes after those dry. All right, let's do this card. This will be what I call an artist trading card size, 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And I just think it's pretty cute to be able to make your own background papers for projects. That could be for journaling cards, artist trading cards, greeting cards, whatever it may be that you want to do, you can do it. Let's put some glitter paint on this as well. So now I've got the sunny flowers. I remembered this one. I just couldn't remember some of the others. I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. And I'm going to add some tulip paint to it. And then let's layer these little pieces down. On the square one, I went ahead and just tore with my ruler a little piece of the book page here that was left over. And I thought I would stick that down in the middle. And then this is one of the garden rose stamps. Missed the spot when I was distressing it. And let's put that in the middle. So this could become a tuck spot, a corner pocket or something. Could be another journaling card. I think we'll just put the word wisdom across the corner here. And I'm going to add some glitter paint to this one as well. So I'm just going to do it on the flowers here. I've been trying to think about what I wanted to do with this because I had this little bitty piece. And I think what I want to do right off the bat is I'm going to stamp on this piece. I've got the gear stamp. Let's do it. And I'm going to do it in walnut stain. So it won't be as stark as black is, but it'll give it a neat texture, I think. So I'm going to stamp it across the page. So I'm just kind of stamping that up and down. And then I think I want to take this piece. I've been playing around with it a little bit, trying to decide what I wanted as I just stuck my hand in glitter paint. Glitter. Oh well. Don't do that again. Make sure when you put your things aside to dry that they're not going to get other things laid on top of them. I think that's what I want to do, is just add that across the top up there. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down. And then let's lay this guy on top. And then I have the word memories, so I think I'm going to put it down here on the bottom. All right, I'm going to add a little bit of some tulip paint to the flower here, which is an iris. I think this is called iris postage stamp. If you do search for iris, you should find it in my shop, but I'm going to have a link below. So don't fear, the list will be below. Okay, so we're now going to work on putting some ribbons on these tags. And I think I want to make my own. I'm going to grab some Snug Hug seam binding. And I'm going to look at this, see how much I want. I know I want about that long, so 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I just kind of figure out how long I want them. So I'm going to lay this on my table so I can measure that out for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. About, let's see, what is that? 60 inches, because there's 4 times 15 be 60. Is that right? 2 times 15 is 30. 2 times 30 is 60. So that would be 60. All right, so I'm going to grab some colors from this Punked Out Steam kit. I've got a green and a teal and kind of a purpley color. So I'm going to start with this teal color that's in the kit. So now I'm going to dry this with my heat tool. All right, so now I've got this. It's almost dry. It's still a little damp, but that's okay. I say that a lot. I was made aware of that in a chat message from someone that says, in the wise words of Linda, it's okay. I'm okay with that. You know, I think we stress about too many things in life that we just need to relax and chillax and say, okay, I'm all right with that. I can survive. All right, so I've cut those into 4 pieces because I thought I would want 2 for each tag. So I'm trying to get a variety here. Grab those. I think I've told you all the technique of if you've got a lot of fibers or thick fibers and it's hard to get their ends wrangled together to put in a tag, to grab a string that's smaller, and that you should be able to pull through the hole a lot easier than trying to wrangle a whole bunch of crazy fibrous pieces. So I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. All right, well, let's take a look at what we made here today. So basically what I'm going to call this is a gelato mixed media board. And the idea is that you make a big piece of paper and then you cut it up to make other elements out of it. And in the case of what I did today, I went ahead and scanned it in before I cut it up so I could use it more than once if I so choose in projects that I have coming up. And what we got out of it was we got a 5x7 journaling card, a 2.5 by 4-ish tags, 2 of those. We got 2 2.5 by 3.5 pieces or artist trading card size. We got 1 3.5 by 3.5 inch square, and then we got a 1.5 by 5 inch piece. And this is what I made with all of those. I think it's kind of fun to play with your supplies just a little bit, use some of those book pages, and then just play. Never really sure where it's going to go. You know, grab your supplies and have fun. That's my motto. If you haven't checked out my Facebook group, Friendly Junk Journal People, please do, or by Linda Israel. I have a pinned post in there right now that it's got a project that if you're inspired by it, make something and post it in the comments. And I'm going to extend it to this project today as well, that if you are inspired, make something and post a picture either inside the Friendly Junk Journal People Facebook group on the tagged post or in by Linda Israel on that tagged post. Well, I will be back live on Monday at 3:45 p.m. Central Standard Time to show the Punked Out Steam junk journal that we're going to make on Monday. And then next Thursday, I'll be back live to do a mixed media project with you. I decided to record this today because I had some projects that I needed to do. So I hope you enjoyed having a recorded version that was sped up in spaces so that you could enjoy it. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Comment below if you have anything to say. Check the description box to links to my blog, the Facebook groups, as well as the products that I used here today. I want to thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate you watching, giving me a thumbs up, sharing this video with your friends, and of course, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I try to show a lot of easy techniques that you can do yourself with pretty attainable supplies. So again, thank you for watching. Have a fabulous day. Lots of love to you. Bye-bye.